We are really committed to helping seniors, people with health and mobility issues, baby boomers, to discover how to age and live vibrantly for as long as we want to. And so what I'm going to take you through today is my experience over the last 10 years, what's happened in my life. And I'm going to say, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. There's a lot of things that you could be doing today other than being here. So, to frame myself a little bit, let me ask you, if I walked up to you on the street and I said, do you want to live to be 100 years old? How many of you would raise your hand to that and say yes? And how many of you would say no? How many of you would say, you know what, I've never really thought about it? Well, I'm going to suggest to you that our future is bright no matter what our age is. How long you want to live or how long you think you might want to live is a function of it's a prejudice, it's a prejudgment. It's a decision or a thought process that we develop in our mind based on what our perception is of being age 100. What is the quality of my life? Perceptions are different for all of us. How many of you see Marilyn in this picture? Is it really Marilyn? Or could it possibly be Albert? Okay, it's actually a picture of Albert Einstein. But our perception is personal. We drive that based on our personal experiences. So what I want to suggest to you is we make up in our mind belief systems that we incorporate in our thought processes as fact. They're facts. So tell me a fact you know about aging.
Mobility.
Mobility deteriorates? Okay. What about our health? What happens to our health as we age?
Hopefully it stays well if you eat well and you exercise.
Okay.
I mean, you have to put in what you get out.
You have to put in what you get out. If you eat right and you exercise, maybe your health doesn't deteriorate as you age. Is that a fact? You can manage that. And what do you know about yourself? What's a fact about you? Are you a positive person? Are you a creative person? Do you tend to be negative? Are you energetic? Are you not energetic? What are facts that you know about yourself? All of these criteria or these belief systems, I believe, and I've discovered, are what drive the quality of our life as we age. And there was a very wise gentleman, much wiser than I am, who said that it's not what we don't know that gets us into trouble. It's what we know for a fact that's not so. There's so many things in our life that we think is fact. It may be our political leanings, it may be our religious beliefs, it can be a lot of different things that sometimes we have a tendency to incorporate them as fact in our life, and they may not always be fact. So it's not those pieces we don't know so much that create the biggest problem, in my experience. I'd like you to pay attention to this clip.
Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, old time is still a-flying, and this same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. The Latin term for that sentiment is Carpe Diem. Now, who knows what that means?
Carpe Diem. That to seize the day.
Very good, Mr.
Meeks.
Meeks. Another unusual name. Seize the day. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. Why does the writer use these lines?
Because he's in a hurry.
No. Ding! Thank you for playing anyway. Because we are food for worms, lads. Because believe it or not, each and every one of us in this room is one day going to stop breathing, turn cold, and die. I'd like you to step forward over here and peruse some of the faces from the past. You've walked past them many times. I don't think you've really looked at them. They're not that different from you, are they? Same haircuts, full of hormones, just like you. Invincible, just like you feel. The world is their oyster. They believe they're destined for great things, just like many of you. Their eyes are full of hope, just like you. Did they wait until it was too late to make from their lives even one iota of what they were capable? Because you see, gentlemen, these boys are now fertilizing daffodils.
Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams. So think about the title of the book. Thrive Now, How to Die Young at an Old Age. What do those words really mean to you? You know, why am I saying those things to you? Out of that scene, how many of you remember that scene from Dead Poets Society? Robin Williams is no longer with us, right? 4 of the young actors in that scene are no longer with us. The fact that we live and die is a reality. The only question is, how do we live our life? That is the message behind Thrive Now. And I'm a curious George. And so my challenge for you today, while I've got you, is to stop and think, and I'll make you a guarantee. I'll make you a guarantee. If you'll pay attention to what I'm saying to you, and you'll just ask yourself, why is he saying this? Why is he telling this to us? Why does he think this is so important for us to stop and start thinking about, right? And I guarantee you that a few things may happen here. Either number 1, you may learn something. Number 2, I may reaffirm a thought process or a belief that you already have that you now feel is validated and you feel stronger about. Or I may say something that you totally disagree with. And I'm going to suggest to you that all of those are okay, as long as we're starting to think about our life and our aging process. And are we going to seize the day, our days? Are we going to thrive and thrive now? What does it mean to thrive now? It means to thrive in the moment. How many of you heard the old saying, the past is history, the future is a mystery, today is all we have? That's why we call it a present, right? It's the present. It really is. It's a spiritual belief. The present is what we have. So why am I saying these things to you? Open your mind a little bit and think about what causes George to suggest we think about these things, and suspend your judgment a little bit. I'm going to challenge you, maybe be a little bit confrontational or a little bit, agitating. But just think, open your mind, suspend judgment. I suggest to you that before you judge and criticize, and I try to use this in my life, I want this to be lighthearted. You can ask questions, you can interact with me, you can laugh, you can do whatever you want. This is going to be much more lighthearted than the Carpe Diem scene, trust me, okay? But before you judge somebody, walk a mile in their shoe. I really try to live by that. Have any of you ever practiced that concept in your life? It's really very, I find it very reassuring and comforting to me, because if I'm going to criticize you and say something judgmental about you, if I practice this concept, I walk a mile in your shoes before I say that, not only am I a mile away from you when I say it, but I've got your shoes. It's pretty safe, right? That's a joke. That joke never works. I need to figure that one out. So ask yourself why. People that I've crossed paths with in Colorado, Bill McCartney, former head coach of the CU Buffaloes, is somebody that we've worked with. Art Linkletter was one of my mentors on this path. Mr. Linkletter was a real advocate for vibrant aging and senior-related issues, and I was very blessed to meet him. Mr. Linkletter died at age 97 writing a speech he was going to deliver the next day. One of the things he was very proud of saying was, he told me once, he says, "George, I'm going to live to be 110. And I said, "Mr. Linkletter, how do you know that?" He said, "I've never broken a contract in my life." And I'm like, "I don't get it. What do you mean? How do you know you're going to live to be 110? He goes, "Well, I booked myself to speak at my 110th birthday party, so I know I'm going to have to live that long." But the key here are the points that he says, some people are more afraid of getting old than they are of dying. When I married my ex-wife, right, and it's a good thing she's my ex-wife because we think very differently. This woman said to me, "I don't want to live past the age of 70. And I'm going, wow, what is that all about? It's her perception of what life would be past 70. If I can be just a little bit off color, is that all right? I tell people, I want to live to be 120. And I want to die having sex on a golf course, okay? It's about being vibrant. So the die young at an old age, what does it mean to die young? What does youth mean to us? What does that word mean? And what does age mean? In this culture, we have a tendency to blend those two things together, and I'm telling you, they are distinct and different. Age is a function of how many times I've ridden this rock around the sun. I'm a day older today than I was yesterday. There's not anything I can do about that. That's a fact, right? That is a fact. But youth is a function of my attitude about this trip. and how I'm living my life on a day-to-day basis. Mark Victor Hansen. The book, Thrive Now, How to Die Young at an Old Age. If you guys are interested in this, the reason I wrote this book is there's tremendous need for this information. In my belief, there's just not a lot of demand for it. There's not a lot of demand for it. So that's why I decided to write the book. And in the process, these brands that I mentioned to you, Bentley baths, things of that nature, how did this all get started? Why am I in this field? And I'm here because this happened to my family. This is my mom, beautiful, vibrant, 83 years old. I called her Nana Schwarzenegger. She worked out 5 days a week. She was healthy. She had no issues going on in her life until August 4th, 2003. She falls in that bathtub, breaks her hip, and our lives changed forever. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking to you today, and I'm in front of you today delivering this message because of that event in my life. What happened to my mom? Happy, vibrant, vital. She had a rapid deterioration. And I say, what a difference a year makes. The picture I showed you 2 slides back was 3 weeks before my mom fell and hurt herself. This picture is 6 weeks after. 6 weeks after. My mom fell into a situation that I now know is epidemic. We hurt ourselves, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, but it wasn't the hip that killed my mom. It wasn't the broken hip. It was everything else that happened to her. My mom fell on my parents' 59th wedding anniversary. She died the day before their 60th wedding anniversary. And that was an extremely expensive, ugly, very difficult year. My dad, on the other hand, what a difference 10 years make. My dad is now 96 years old. But when my mom fell, my dad was not healthy. My dad had 2 hips that were shot. He had a condition called polymyalgia rheumatica. He'd been taking prednisone for years. He was depressed. He was drinking. My sister and I, my dad's clocking time. He doesn't have much left. But when my mom went through that experience and she died in the nursing home, and my parents were living in the home my mother was born in Morrilton, Arkansas. I was raised with my mom saying, I was born in this house, I'm going to die in this house. And we let her down. She died in a nursing home. My dad said, I am not ever, ever, ever going into a nursing home. Why did I ask you? Is it your intention to stay in the facility, the home that you're in right now for the rest of your life? My dad's very clear. He wants to stay in that home. The way he says it is, when my soul leaves this earth, I want my body going through the front door. George, it's your job to help me make that happen. And when he said that to me, I said, I'm on it, Dad. I get it. I get it. My dad at 96 is living a vibrant and healthy life. I will tell you right now, at 96, I just talked to him. We were upstairs and Kelly and Simon and I were trying to get ready for this. My dad calls me and he's like, I sent the grandkids a gift and I got this receipt and I want to make sure they got it. I mean, he's just living large. He's very happy. He's younger at 96 than he was at 86. How could he be younger? I'm telling you, his blood work, his organ function, his mental capacity, his flexibility, his mobility, his energy are all greater at 96 than they were at 86. And that's the truth. Now, to me, that's youth, right? So let me ask you a question. Genetically, biologically, our bodies, how long are we engineered to live? If we do it right, and we really do thrive every day, one day at a time, and we are proactive about this, how long are we genetically engineered to live? Any thoughts?
95.
95? But I'm talking about our bodies genetically. If we take care of it, we're engineered to make it at least to 122 years. And how do we know that? Because we know that Jean Clement, the oldest documented surviving person on earth. There are people who say they've lived longer than 120 years, but they can't really document it and verify it. Ms. Clement is documented to have lived to be 122 years. So we know the human body can survive 122 years. Somebody was telling me yesterday in the lobby, we were talking about something he saw on A&E or the History Channel or something about these people that believe that we're engineered to live to be 600 years. And they're talking about the science around it. And we look back at biblical stories like Methuselah and things like that. I mean, who knows? But right now we know for a fact 122 years. Ms. Clement was an amazing person. This woman rode a bicycle. She learned to ride a bicycle when she was 90 years old. She rode it until she was 110. She ate 2 pounds of chocolate every week. She smoked until she was 104 and said she needed to quit because the men didn't like it, right? I mean, this woman was amazing. And she's funny. I've never had a single wrinkle in my life. The only one I've got, I'm sitting on it. And she would be happy to show it to you if you were interested in taking a look at it. So if our life expectancy is 122 years, potentially, historically, when we look back, we have consistently, since the dawn of time, however we got here, since human life appeared on this earth, every generation has had a longer life expectancy than the generation that precedes it. Every single one. What is our life expectancy in the United States today? Does anybody know?
So according to how old you are.
And what month you're checking, because it's changing constantly. That's right. Last time I looked at 78, 79. It keeps bumping up, right? But I'm going to tell you something that really stunned me in doing this research. For the first time ever since the dawn of man, my grandchildren have a shorter life expectancy than my son and myself. How could that possibly be? With all the knowledge and the medical information and the technology, all these advances, how could it possibly be that my grandchildren have a shorter life expectancy? Why don't we live that way? Why is it dropping? It's because of what we do. It's because of what we're doing to these young people and ourselves, right? Genetics plays a role, but the decisions I make in my life are what impact the quality of my life and whether that life is 78 or 88 or 98 or whatever it might be. You follow me? So this is where we have a choice. So I'm telling you that if we start thinking and we start acting proactively about what we can do in our lives, these conditions that we refer to in Western medicine as age-related or degenerative, we all have them. I've got early onset arthritis in my right knee. If I don't take care of that, what's going to happen? It's going to degenerate. It's a point A, point B game. So if I do nothing, I know that over time this condition will get worse, right? Arthritis, diabetes, MS, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, insomnia, depression, you just go down the list, they're all degenerative, right? So what if I can do things in my life now, starting today, that slow that process down? Just slow it down. Phyllis Bennett, I don't know if you'll get to hear from Phyllis or not, but she's my very first customer with Bentley Baz. She's the one you see doing our commercials and things like that. This woman was in a wheelchair headed for a back surgery when I met her. She has not been in a wheelchair in 8 years, and she still hasn't had the back surgery. So 10 years out, she's going, hey, I've slowed that process. I've got a whole group of folks that we've worked with that we've literally stopped it. So my knee doesn't get better, doesn't get worse, I stabilize it. What's the impact on my quality of life if I can do that with these health and degenerative conditions that we're all dealing with? And then I've got people like my dad and Phyllis Bennett, they've actually reversed it. My dad is healthier, and I can document that through his medical work, right? And you're going to hear from some people. What is the third leading cause of death in the United States? They're called iatrogenic diseases. That my mom died of an iatrogenic illness. In other words, it wasn't the hip. My mom went into the nursing home. When you saw her in that second picture, she had been in the ER. They're going, oh, you're in pain, honey. Let's give you some pain meds. Okay. They give her a pain medication. She has a reaction to it, causes her to have a stroke. Just like that, my mom lost 60% of her cognitive ability. Now they're treating her for the stroke. She has a series of little mini heart attacks. Now they're treating her for that. She gets bed sores. She gets a staph infection. 6 weeks into her hospital stay, she develops hospital psychosis. My sister and I are going, if we don't get her out of the hospital, they're going to kill her. An iatrogenic disease is an illness that happens because we sought medical care. So message number one is stay out of the hospital, stay out of the doctor's office, learn how to take care of yourself, right? The book is about these 4 secrets. So I'm going to tell you, what we look at above the surface is just the tip of the iceberg. And when we're dealing with our physical presence and we're being reactive to that sort of thing, right, we're not managing, we're reacting to what happens. I fall and hurt myself and now I'm reacting to it. I eat poorly and something happens, now I'm reacting to that. You follow me? I take pharmaceuticals, I have a side effect to that, now I'm reacting to it. We're behind the curve, and my challenge to you is to think about flipping that around a little bit. Anti-aging. Wow. I hear that and I'm going, how can you be against aging? Anti-aging? I'm against it. I don't believe in it. I'm not going to do it. Just not going to do it. Don't believe in it. You can't do that. It's a fact of life, right? What you resist persists. My ex-wife's medicine cabinet was full. Every bottle in her medicine cabinet said anti-aging, right? And I'm going, honey, you're living, I mean, because you're not going to not age. You follow me? It's going to happen. So why? Why are these issues so important to us? The number one killer in mind, there's two here that just really just add up to a lot of problem. One is denial. I'm okay, I can handle this. That was my dad. I don't need this. I don't need to do anything in my home. I'm okay. I'm not at risk in my bathtub, you know, whatever. I hear these things all the time. That's denial. That was my dad. The other one is ignorance. We were ignorant with my mom. We just did not know that she was at risk. We didn't know there were things that we could do to help make her safe. So we need to respect what we do know, and we need to respect the fact that as we age, we become weaker and less stable. Fact. It is just a fact. You can manage it, you can deny it, or you can accept it and be proactive about it. If you want to be proactive about it, then there's a lot we can do. So proactive, I like the term pro-aging, okay? I'm for it. It's going to happen anyway, so I might as well embrace it, right? And think about what I'm doing. So the book centers around, and the content centers around these 4 secrets. And I'm going to tell you already know these secrets. But as I'm thinking about this, I'm going, how do I dumb this down so that, you know, dumb old boys from Arkansas like me and my father can actually do this? And I'm going to try to give you the information today so that you don't need to do everything. Just do one. Pick one thing and say, all right, I'm going to try to implement this in my life. And then come back. Keep it simple. Make it easy. I could fill this room up with all the text and the knowledge and the research on these 4 areas that I'm going to talk to you about. It's overwhelming. It's mind-numbing. And I'm like, I just want to simplify it. So if I'm going to live vibrantly to 100 or beyond, what's the first secret? Reduce stress. Stress is a huge factor in our quality of life, in our longevity, how long we live. Does that make sense? Anything I can do to reduce stress. What is the best way to reduce stress?
Exercise.
Exercise is good. Exercise is good.
Stay busy.
Stay busy. Our brain, I'm looking at this stuff, right? And I'm not going to go through all the medical science because it would bore you to death, but I'm just telling you, our human brain was wired on the savannas thousands of years ago, right? We were wired to deal with huge stimulus. I'm hungry, I need to eat. So I'm going to go out and forage and hunt for a week to try to get food to bring back to the family. I'm cold, I need to protect myself from the weather. What do? We walk indoors, we turn the air conditioning on. Thousands of years ago, we had to build huts and houses and try to structure them, and by the end of the winter, they'd be falling apart, and we had to build them all over again. So there was a little bit of stimulus, I need this in my life, but a huge response. A huge response in order to meet that. Today, what's going on today? We have huge stimulus, stress everywhere, traffic, information all over the place. Why are life expectancies dropping? Huge stimulus, no response. Our children are sitting in front of TVs with all this high definition surround sound blaring, and they're just do. You with me? I grew up, I was never inside. I can't get my kids outside, right? We need to think about these things, and how are we doing it in our life? And staying active is a way that I can create significant response in my life. We're wired for negative information. You wonder why the news has a 10-to-1 ratio for negative news over positive news? It's because that's the way we were wired. It's our amygdala. It's primitive. It's been in there from the very beginning. When we were on the savannas, the fact that we missed good news was not a big deal. Hey, there's a berry bush over there with great berries on it, and you missed out. Okay, well, fine, I'll find another one. If it's negative news you miss out on, there's a saber-toothed tiger in that bush, guess what? You're out of the gene pool. So we were programmed to respond to negative information, and that's why we get it. That's why the news is the way it is. I haven't watched TV in years. I haven't read a newspaper in years. I just don't do it. I don't watch the news. And guess what? I don't miss anything. I don't miss anything. It trickles in through my phone or friends or whatever. I know as much as, I know all about Donald Trump. I know all this stuff. You don't have to tell me anything, right? But I don't absorb it. I don't soak myself in it. So, stress reduction, the truth about this is we want to think about our thought process. Viktor Frankl says, what separates us from all other living creatures on earth is that gap that we have between stimulus and response. We have the ability to, oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to turn into the drive-in at McDonald's, or I'm not. I'm going to go and get some fresh broccoli or whatever it is. We have a gap between stimulus and response, and that's what separates human beings from all other living creatures. We have a choice. I grew up with some messages. One was that I was fat. And you know where that came from? I was raised in the 50s and blue jeans became popular, and boy, I thought it was the greatest thing. It was James Dean and Marlon Brando, and we'd wear the jeans and the t-shirts and fold the cuff up a little bit, and we either had penny loafers or PF Flyer tennis shoes. And so my mom takes me to J.C. Penney's, and I'm getting my jeans, and I'm so cool. It's the first time I've ever gotten any kind of fad or fashion thing, right? I'm at school the next day, and I'm feeling all cool, and I'm looking at my buddies over there, and you know how they had the little leather tag right here? I'm looking at my best friend Bruce Jaggers over there, and his little tag says Slim. I'm going, oh, hey, that's cool. Mine said Husky. And I'm like, is that adults telling me I'm fat? I got to wear the fat jeans? And I carried that. And a friend of mine sent this to me. I tell this story a lot, right? And I love this. You're not fat, you're just a little husky, right? Funny. So, humor. Humor is the biggest and most powerful way for us to reduce our stress. My dad and I, we made a pact 5 years ago, two things. Neither one of us, we will not let our feet hit the floor in the morning without saying to ourselves, this is going to be the best day of my life. This is going to be the best day of my life. And now I can get out of bed. The second thing is we will not remove our feet from the floor to go to sleep without having made somebody else laugh. So my dad gets up, 96 years old, he gets up and goes, who can I make laugh? Right? He's spending his day going around, is it going to be you? Is it going to be you? And every now and then I'll get a phone call, 7:30 at night, did you hear the one about? And I'm going, okay, Dad, okay, you made me laugh, you can go to bed now, right? It is the biggest stress reducer that we have. The Mayo Clinic, we're treating cancer with laughter therapy. I don't have the time to go through all this information, but I want to remind you of somebody, right? What causes a change from, do you know who this is? Well, this is what stress does to you, right? There is a thing called age-related muscle degeneration, but I'm suggesting to you that this is probably more because he got into politics and got his nanny pregnant, okay? Stress has a major impact on our health and our physical being. It impacts our immune system. I just don't have time to go through all this. We can use laughter and humor for pain relief. It's an amazingly powerful tool. It increases our personal satisfaction. My dad, you know, every time he says, you know, we've got to talk, it's always been something negative. Last time he said it to me before this slide I'm about to show you, he says, we need to talk. Next thing out of his mouth, I have malignant oral cancer. And I went, oh crap, Dad. You know, yep, I got it, you know, then I don't know if I'm going to live or not, right? So about 18 months ago, we've got to talk. And I'm going, oh, let me sit down, Dad. So I sit down, what is it? And he goes, well, I'm dating. And I'm like, what? He says, I'm dating. I'm like, well, that's cool, Dad. And he goes, well, it's not serious, okay? We're just having fun. We're just dating. Second secret, avoid injury. Avoid injury. Our bodies are like automobiles. We're internal combustion engines. If we crash it, we got to fix it. Our body has amazing ability to heal itself. So why do we focus on bathrooms with Bentley baths? It is the #1 place of injury. Over 3 million seniors injure themselves in their bathrooms every year. 30,000 are dying from those injuries. Do you realize that's more seniors dying from bathroom-related injuries than automobile accidents? And we don't even talk about it. We don't even talk about it. And there are things we can do to avoid the injury. But we have to be proactive about that. So now we're down in the proactive area, right? We're reducing stress. We're looking at avoiding our injuries. This is a cartoon that Dana Summers published 2 years before my mom fell and hurt herself that led to her death in a nursing. 2 years. When I saw that, I'm going, where was I? Why was I so out of the loop? Think about it. If you're a humorist, what are you going to write about? She's got 2 birds, one of them with a cast on. I fell in the bird bath. Dana Summers going, the public is so aware of this that if I write a cartoon, they're going to get it. They're going to get the humor. And this was 2 years before my mom fell. I'm like, I was out of the loop. I wasn't connected. This happens how often? Any guesses? Do you know how many people came up to me yesterday and said, I'm safe in my bathroom. I don't need this yet. I'm okay. And I'm like, maybe. Do you know how often this happens? Every 15 seconds. While we're talking today, over 20 people are going to die in the U.S. because of an incident just like that. It happens all the time. After my mom passed, it was 2 years, and I'm in this business now, helping people put safe bathing appliances in their home. And my dad tells me, did you know how your mom got in the bathtub? And I'm like, no. She had to get on all fours and throw an arm and a leg over the side of the tub and kind of roll into the tub. And that's how she got in there. He's about to do something that's very dangerous. Towel bars should be outlawed. They're not designed to support us. Our bathrooms are full of them. It's such an easy thing to fix. I tell in the book, I say I can make a bathroom 100 times safer for under $100, and that's true. So there's one number here I really want you to focus in on. That one, bathroom-related injuries, one factor. How is our healthcare system? Is it in good financial shape? No. How's our economy? Are we really doing great these days? No. $42 billion a year in bathroom-related injuries. $42 billion a year. And the question is, can you spot the dangers in a bathroom? They're there. I had somebody, suction cups, those little things, those are killers. Portable benches, there's the towel bars. We just aren't thinking about it. Here's a fully ADA compliant shower. Lady fell in there, shattered her kneecap. It's still not safe. And this is real time. So now we've put a walk-in tub. He can get in and get out. Now Mr. Diaz can bathe 7 days a week without stress. Okay, the point is there's technology out there for us to address these things. What's the second most dangerous thing in our home? Yeah, we would never send a toddler up a flight of stairs, right? But as we age and our stability weakens, we expect people to do it all the time, right? Here's a guy using a rail on one side. He's completely off balance. He's torqued around. It's extremely dangerous, right? It is. There's technology to address these things. It's my dad in his tub. He loves his Bentley bath. So we've got reduce stress, avoid injury, eat right. And when I say eat right, I'm talking about anything we do with our body. It's not just the food and the nutrition. Anything we expose our body to can be incorporated into the eat right context. So I can clearly look at the quality of the food and nutrition that we're putting into our bodies, right? It's epidemic. There is no nutrition in our food anymore. Very, very little. Pharmaceuticals, that's where I focus. Every one of these pharmaceuticals that we put in, do you realize in the United States, the average American 55 and older, how many prescription medications do you think the average American over 55 takes? Any guesses? 15? That's 65 is 9. 55 is 4. 70 is like 15. I know. I've been in thousands of homes over the last 10 years, right? And I'll say, are you taking any prescription? And how many times they come out with a box? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Every single one of these things has side effects. Every single one of them is toxic, caustic, not natural. Now, I may be taking ibuprofen because I'm in pain, but I am not fixing the cause of the pain. So if I can think of ways of managing and getting these things out of my body, not taking a pain med, doing something naturally differently, one pain med just one out of that box, if I can take that out of somebody's body, what's that going to do to their quality of life for the rest of their life? Phyllis Bennett, the lady that was falling out of the tub, my very first walk-in bath, Bentley bath customer, was taking high blood pressure medications and pain medications. She doesn't take any of those things anymore. None of them. My dad was on prednisone. He'd been on prednisone for years. Doesn't take prednisone anymore. Quality of our drinking water. Some of these things are very easy. Our water is filthy. Sorry, okay? Our water systems tell us drink tap water, and plastic bottled water, not any better either, right? It's really not. We can purify our own water very, very simply. I'm not going to go through this. We get hung up on lead. Lead, we tend to have an emotional reaction to. There's lead in our water. This information is right off the Denver Water Board's website. They're basically saying, hey, we can't protect people from everything. I'm going like, well, wait a minute. You should at least be educating us. It's very simple to clean your water. Very simple. If you have a refrigerator with a water filter in the door, use it. It's a KDF filter. It'll get most of the contaminants out. What's the fourth secret? Exercise. Exercise. Why? Why? Have you ever?
Gets rid of stress.
Say it again.
Gets rid of stress.
It does. Why?
Gets your heart beating.
Get your heart beating. Is that a good thing to do? Builds muscles. Is that good?
You're moving.
Have you ever gone to a doctor and you know, there at some point in there they didn't say, you know what, you need to eat, watch what you eat, and you need to exercise? Are they telling you to go out and try to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Eat less and move more.
Eat less and move more. Why?
Because it's healthy.
See, back to Curious George, I'm going, why? So we're on the proactive side now, right? Eat right, exercise, avoid injury, reduce stress. The exercise piece, our lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system is what detoxes and cleanses our body. When the doctor's telling you to exercise, they're not saying lift weights, they're saying move. Move your body, walk, do anything. Just get your lymphatic system stimulated, because that's the part of our body that detoxes, cleanses, oxygenates all our inflamed and injured cells. I have a very dear friend, Mark McIntosh, who's a sports guy and a motivational speaker, and he loves to say, sweat a day keeps the doctor away. And I'm like, yeah, Mark, but my clients can't really move enough to sweat. So what do we do when we can't move enough to sweat without injuring myself? My dad at 96 years old, when he was 87, he couldn't move. Now he can. Now he can. He walks 3 miles a day. But we've developed processes that are natural, and that's part of the Bentley Wellness. We have these processes we can make available to our customers. So I'm saying to you, what does Mickey Mantle and Japanese snow monkeys, that's my father,
The monkey?
Coach Bill McCartney, well, that's me. Peyton Manning, quarterback for the Denver Broncos. What do all these people have in common? They all use medical hydrotherapy. We've trademarked medical hydrotherapy. So if we're going to make a bathroom safe, we're going to put a safe bathing appliance in there, we can deliver a therapeutic process. It's an all-natural pain management process. It is not jacuzzi. It is not hot tub. The definition is it's all-natural pain management, which means it's temperature appropriate. Peyton Manning was sitting in a tub of ice. If you're a professional athlete, or if you're in a sports training environment, or a rehab facility, or you sprain your ankle, you're going to use contrast therapy. What do you do when you sprain your ankle? Do you put heat on it or ice? Ice. And then you go to heat the next day. That's called contrast therapy. If we can use that therapeutic process on our bodies as we age, all these things we deal with on a day-to-day basis, huge impact on our ability to heal ourselves. So contrast therapy is really what it's all about, and having it available to us 24/7 in our home is really important. The point here is we're doing temperature appropriate, sanitary, non-aggressive whole body massage. So now I can take a quadriplegic, somebody who cannot move at all, and I can put them in an environment where they can get the benefit of exercise. They can actually stimulate their lymphatic system, detox, cleanse, heal themselves. Again, a natural therapy process that we can make ourselves available to us. So we're after the thermal benefits, hot, cold. This little slide, you can't see it, but the idea is there's a whole list of different benefits medically between cool temperatures and warmer temperatures, and we need to be able to understand and practice those. We tend to think hot tubs and jacuzzis. I can't tell you how many people, oh, I got a hot tub. I'm going, well, not sanitary, not temperature appropriate, very aggressive, and it's not whole body massage. I may get a jet in one spot, but at least they're using the thermal benefit. The thermal benefit is good. Massage, we want non-aggressive massage. So now we've got all 4 down below. We're ready to be proactive in our lives. And I'm going to tell you, my dad is like my poster child. He's the one, I've been experimenting on him for 10 years, more. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of benefit. For 6 years, to give you an idea, not one single person that has become a customer of Bentley baths that we've put the medical hydrotherapy in, not one of them has their doctor refused to prescribe that for them. Every single one of them has a doctor's prescription for that. What happens is they now realize that, hey, wait a minute, this really is medically appropriate, and they use it. My dad does a medical hydrotherapy every day. Phyllis Bennett does one every day. I do 4 a week. So I have people think, oh, this is all about safety. It is about safety, but it's also about being proactive with our health. And there are a lot of therapies out there. And I'm happy to talk to you guys about any of these other therapies and technologies that are available. This is the way my dad wants to be remembered. This is his image of himself, very stoic. He loves to get the grandkids and stuff, and he'll do this, and they'll just drive themselves crazy trying to get their lower lip up over their nose, and he'll just sit there and watch them, and after a while their lips are all red and they're frustrated, and he'll finally, when they give up, and he'll tell them, you know, it helps if you don't have any teeth. So, Carpe Diem. Thrive now. That's what we're really talking about, is seizing our days, thriving in this day, making decisions today and every day that impact our nutrition. Do you want me to make nutrition really easy for you? Really, really easy? Eat 2.5 cups of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, period. That's it. Eat 2.5 cups of fresh fruits and vegetables every day. You have laid your nutritional foundation. If those can be organic, great. But otherwise, just try to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. The rest of it can be a process of removing. Maybe I don't eat a cheeseburger. Maybe I take, you know, this glass of wine out of my, maybe I to get rid of the, you know, you can now just gradually begin to manage that. But if you've got your core of nutrition, avoid injury. Just think about it. If you're moving around your house, where are you at risk? If you don't go in the bathroom without stopping twice to think about, how am I going to be safe in here? Don't go down a flight of stairs without stopping to think. If you're out walking around in nature, be aware of your environment. If you're coming up on a curb or a crack, you know, be aware. We can protect ourselves and we can thrive today, not in the future, today. Let me leave you with a quick joke, all right? A story. My dad he just stays vibrant. He still drives. He likes to go to this one particular pond where he hangs out, and this is how he does his stress reduction. Other than the medical hydrotherapies, he goes to this one place and he likes to just sit there in nature and breathe it in. And he's sitting there by a pond. It's really pretty. And he's sitting there one day and he hears this little voice. And the voice says, "Kiss me." And it's a female voice. And he's going like, oh, maybe I'm getting overheated. You know, he's trying to figure out what's going on. And he hears it, "Kiss me." And it's a female voice. And he looks around and there's this cute little frog staring at him, right? And it makes eye contact with him. And and she goes, "Kiss me." And he's like, oh gosh, I'm too much something going on here. And she's like, no, I'm a beautiful princess. I was turned into a frog years ago, and I'm going to stay a frog until I'm kissed on the lips by a human man. And you're a man, just kiss me on the lips, and I'll turn back into this beautiful princess. And my dad just looks at her. She goes, really? Listen, I can see you got a few miles on you. You know, I'll tell you what. You turn me back into a princess. I'll hang on your arm every day. I'll make all your friends so jealous of you. I will attend to your every need, your every wish. You'll never be sorry you did it. Just turn me back into a beautiful princess. Just kiss me on the lips. My dad sits there and picks the little frog up and sticks her in his pocket and starts heading back to the car. And this frustrates the little frog, and she sticks her head up out of his pocket, and she's like, "Did you hear what I said?" He goes, "Yeah, I heard you. I'm a beautiful princess. All you got to do is kiss me on the lips, and I'll hang on your arm. I'll take care of you. I'll make your friends jealous. Didn't you hear me? Were you not listening? Can you hear me?" He goes, "Yeah, I can hear you." He says, "Well, she says, why aren't you going to kiss me?" And my dad just looks at her and says, "You know what? I was married to the same woman for 60 years. I think I'd rather have a talking frog."
Thank you.